Hey guys, my name is Lauren Kralovec. I am an IFBB Bikini Pro and now Bikini Olympian and also a UXO athlete. So I've been in bodybuilding since 2017. I'm really an all or nothing type person. So my first show I did surprisingly well. When I got off stage, I felt like I had blacked out. I had no expectations. It was probably one of my most fun shows because I had no pressure to win or place or anything. I just wanted to get on stage, show off 20 weeks of prep. And I did very well, which made me nationally qualified at my first show.
Oh, you nationally qualified at your very first show? Mm-hmm. And did you go to nationals?
No, I was not even close to ready. And so actually, when I finished my first show, I'd planned going to Mexico that next week. And I literally drove from the show to the airport that night and went to Mexico for a week, ate everything under the sun, and did another show 3 weeks later.
How did you do in that show?
I got third. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
After partying in Mexico for a week?
Yep. Those were kind of like just fun. I did it with friends. It was like getting my feet wet in the sport. And it wasn't really about placing at that time. It was really just like I was just enjoying it and loving learning about it and having fun with it. I did off season the whole year and started prep again January 1st. And then I did 2 June shows. And then I did a third show that year in Portland, the Portland Classic, and I got third there again. So I got second, third. And then I did my first national show finally in 2019. And I didn't really know much. I was still very, very green in the sport. Let's just go check this out. Let's go see. I had no expectations on, I'm so glad I didn't have expectations to like get my pro card that day. I got like last place. It was tough because I'm someone who's really highly competitive and I wanted to do well, but I think it was very eye-opening that if I wanted to do well, I needed to work harder, I needed to adjust the plan, I needed a different coach, I needed to level up all the aspects of competing and actually either take it seriously or not be in it at all. Because it's not a sport where you can just kind of dabble in it. You can if that's your why, if you just want to like stay in good shape and compete regionally. And when I came back, I ended up going into another off season. I have to make some changes and I knew I needed to make a coaching change. I just felt like we had kind of reached our limit together and there was like bigger teams and I noticed that when I was at the national level, like the girls had a little bit more support. And I didn't make a decision right away. I was like, I'm just gonna eat, build, keep building muscle, figure out kind of what I wanna do. And then I moved to Idaho. Then like COVID hit, of course. Okay, but I never stopped. Like I just kept staying on like my meal plan and training. I got like bands and trained outside and just did whatever I could to keep putting muscle on.
Oh yeah, because the gyms were all shut down.
Mm-hmm. And I was like new here, so I did a lot of like solo running outside. I had bought some weights at Walmart and did some stuff out in the back patio and just made it work. And so that spring, I also hired a new coach who was part of a larger team. And she's like, you got this, you can turn pro. And I was like, what do you mean turn pro? Like, I just want to like do well. And it took me a long time to believe that I could actually be going for my pro card. I kind of had like that limiting self-belief where it was kind of like, that's for people who are like really good. And so I didn't let it be like, oh, I could be really good. I remember a very specific conversation when I got like second place at those 2 shows. You go back to your gym and everybody's like, how'd you do? Good job. Are you gonna go for your pro card? And I remember laughing and being like, never, no, that's not for me. And I was like, this is just fun. And that's when like, I think the things shifted is like in 2020 when I was kind of like, I kind of want it, but I still didn't really believe it. I just kept going like I was heading there, but I know mentally I didn't believe it yet. Hired the next level coach and when gyms opened up, we went all in prep again. We prepped for the same show, North Americans. So 2019 was my first national show at North Americans. Last place. Go back to North Americans. Went to North Americans. And I got third place. That was only like 1 or 2 spots from getting my pro card. So when I was 1 or 2 spots from getting it and I came home, that's when I was like, okay, I can be a pro. I took a little pegboard with like the little letters and I wrote IFBB Pro on it. And I was like, that was like the first time I remember being like, I can say I want to be a pro. There's a lot of little moments over my journey where I write down or carry an item or something that's like meaningful that like kind of like to help myself believe in it. Manifesting and also like affirmations, like personal affirmation of like I am or I can. And like I know it was like 2020 and there was a lot of like shows that were shut down, but I never rescheduled or stopped prepping. I just kept going. So when I'm all in, I'm all in. The next show I did was Universe. I went and I was like stoked. I was like, I'm coming from third place. I can go in and get my pro card. I got third call outs. I got like pretty close to last place again. That's a wake up call. Like, it's not as easy as I think it's gonna be. And I had already planned and bought flights and hotels for the following weekend to go to nationals in Florida. Literally that week between, because they said I wasn't tight enough again, I literally ate just fish for 6 meals a day and did 3 hours of cardio a day for the whole week. Went to nationals, we carved up a little bit a couple days the day before, and I came back and got first call, so I got 6th place. And so it's amazing how like in this sport, like you can like change in the matter of a week. So yeah, that was kind of really crazy roller coaster. Third, last, 6th. 2021, Anthony and I were prepping together. It turned out the way like I was leaning out and when prep started and stuff, the best show, national show that lined up for start of 2021 was North Americans again. Okay, 3rd time's the charm, I got this. And I felt really improved. I felt like I'd really like taken like my little improvement season very seriously. I'd been on top of my prep. I had learned a lot. My posing had improved. I was working regularly with a posing coach. This is my year. North Americans, men and women compete on different days. So Anthony competed first. He also did North Americans that year. And he got his pro card. That was both of our goals. And I was like, okay, so now I have to. And I got 7th. You know, like I had to celebrate like Anthony's win because, you know, how freaking exciting. He got his pro card. But like, you know, there's always that little bit of underlying disappointment for like your own personal achievement there too. It was hard for him too because he wanted to celebrate turning pro and felt bad that I was like, didn't get that goal. And I had to attempted this so many more times. So I prepped for Olympia Amateur. 4 weeks later, we went. I won my class. But at Olympia Amateur, you have to get top 3 in the overall. And then I got runner-up overall and I actually finally got my pro card that day. That was my first NPC level win. So I never won a regional level show except that first novice class. And then finally my first NPC win was my last NPC win. But I was like, you know, I achieved a goal that I thought was impossible. Since it was at Olympia Amateur, Anthony and I were walking around outside the building taking pictures. I'm holding up my pro card, holding it up, and we looked over and there was this big sign for the Olympia. I went under and I was like, take a picture of me just for fun here. Have a picture. And it's been my phone background for a couple years now. I'm standing there with my pro card above my head with the big Olympia banner above it. And I said, this impossible goal means that I can do that impossible goal. I did a pro debut 4 weeks after I got my pro card. And I did get top 10. I got 10th. And I was pretty happy with it. But when I looked at my photos, I felt like I looked definitely very much like my amateur physique. If I want to do the pro thing and I want to achieve that impossible goal, I'm going to have to like reevaluate again. A lot of people think when you get your pro card, like it comes with all these sponsorships and payments and attention. And when you go home from winning that pro card, everything's the same. It doesn't come with money or fame or anything. There's so much more meaningful things to it, like the experience of it all. Like the whole journey is way more important than actually like when you get home as a pro.
What did the journey teach you about yourself?
The journey really taught me a lot about like resilience. I'm a resilient person. Like regardless of like me not winning an NPC show, I kept pushing for a goal that was bigger and I never stopped. Like I literally didn't even take a full year off. I never stopped being on a meal plan or counting macros. I never was like, oh, maybe I'll pick that up again next year. It was always kind of like in my head that I have this goal, I have this goal, I have this goal. Regardless of where you are in your life, like if you're moving, if you're with your family, or if you have a partner, or if you have other things happening, like you can still have your personal goals being achieved the whole time. Found out that internally I have a really, really strong drive for like achieving something. As you move up levels, you get better and you become like the big dog and the top fish, you know, and then you graduate levels. So it's like the regional level and then the national level, you get that pro card. Then you go to the pro stage and you realize you're back at the beginning again, just like completely down as the small fish. And then in 2023, I did come back for a first pro season and I did 4 shows, I believe. I got my first top 5 in 2023 and that was the Clash Championship Series. Oh, I'm gonna do this. This is really, really cool. And at the end of the year, I did Sasquatch Pro. I got 14th, which was my worst pro placing yet. The first time I ever fell out of the top 10. And that was hard to end your season on, like, cause I knew my body was tired. It was kind of disappointing to start my improvement season on that kind of like low note when I did get a top 5 in 2023. I did put the goal out of getting a top 5. Goal achieved for 2023. Went into 2024 with the goal of a top 3. What's next? What's the next goal? Baby goals. Right out the gate, Texas Pro, we got 5th place. And then the very next show, Nashville Fit Show again, which I love that show, got 3rd. When I got the top 3, I was like, oh, now I have to have another goal. Like, okay, I really want to win a pro show. I could say that I wanted to win a pro show, but for some reason there was still a little bit of like
doubt.
Yeah, doubt, or like just like I was limiting myself. I was like telling myself like I couldn't get the big goal of qualifying for the Olympia. A few weeks later, we went to San Antonio Pro and I got 2nd. Incredibly amazing, but there was a little bit bittersweet because you knew, like, I feel like 3rd place was exciting. And then 2nd place had a little tinge of like disappointment because you were like
just so close
fighting for the win. So it was like, but I didn't win. But that's kind of where I was like, okay, I can be an Olympian. It wasn't when I got the 3rd place and I had to shift my goal. It was when I got the 2nd place that I felt like I could actually shift my goal. And when we're sitting in the hotel getting ready for that show, I wrote down a bunch of affirmations and I wrote, I'm an Olympian. I'm competing at Olympia 2025. And then I ended up getting 6th place. So it was my worst placing of the year to end the season again. And I felt like this weird, like, happy piece. I was like, I just love doing this. Like, today wasn't my day. And so I went into DC Pro as the first show of this year. They go numerically and they call out the first like top 8 or so, 8 to 5 girls. And they were calling numbers and they skipped my number. And they just kept going. And I had watched everybody walk up to the first call out. And all last year, all in 2024, I had been one of those girls in the top call out. And this was my first show back, all in, so much. And I felt so improved, more muscle, more posing experience, just ready. And I missed the first call out. My heart sank and I'm still on stage, still having to perform. And I did. I'm very good at like on stage keeping my composure and continuing to perform. I was like, I'm still here. I still got to show up because this isn't the end. And so I went, got on the 2nd call outs, and I ended up in 9th place. That was a harder loss than even like some of those last places at those national shows for me. Not afraid to say, I just started crying. Like, that was like really hard. Like, I was like, why am I doing this? Why am I putting so much effort into this if I'm not getting the goals I set out for? But I had a choice right there of like, I could either throw in the towel, say I'm not good enough, or work harder. So we did. We pushed really hard, went to the next show. I need to be back up in the top to have my confidence there again. I got 9th again. So we did Indy Pro. I got in the first call out, but the first call out has 8 people and I got 8. But this one in LA, we're like, okay, we got a couple weeks. We made a couple changes with some of my food, my protocols. We had to have the mindset of bringing my best and most authentic self to stage. That was kind of like the theme of the weekend, like the couple days leading into it. Like every time we checked in, posed, it was like, bring my energy.
When it came down, you were the top 3 because they called the top 3 girls out there.
Yeah, they had
always going through your mind.
I was like, this could be it. This could be it. This is your battle. My ribs were sore from squeezing my core so hard. 2 ladies that were in the other top 3, like one of them had actually won a few weeks before and gotten her qualification already. And the other gal had gotten 2nd a few weeks before, or a month or so before. So top tier competition. Like, they pause and they're like, and they draw out their words. The MC's like, who's going to the 2025 Olympia? And they like draw it out. And like, it's like this long moment and everything slows down. And then they called the other girl's name and I'm just sitting there like, that means we did it. That means we did it. I just started crying. And then just like that had been like a long journey. I counted, that was my 28th show, my 14th pro show. I'd been going since 2017. 28 shows to go from newbie to Olympian. There was a lot of ups and downs in that journey and a lot of learning experiences. I wouldn't take any of it back. I feel like sometimes if something was like given to me too quickly, I don't know if I would appreciate it so much. This is the first time I've really felt somewhat satisfied, where I don't feel like I need a next goal yet. This year and for the 2025 Olympia, I just want to get on the Olympia stage and bring my best physique plus some. But then when you say the highest levels at the Olympia, there's placing top 15, there's placing top 10, because top 10 get to go to finals. There are levels once you even become an Olympian. But right now, I don't feel like I am ready to make those goals, because I finally feel like I can shift some of my goals to some life goals, some career, family. So I will be taking a little break from competing finally after the Olympia this year. Good thing about that is I feel like if I hadn't gotten to the Olympia, I would have always wondered what if. Now that I've made it to the Olympia, if I want to compete again, I know I can't have that limiting belief that I'm not good enough. I know have reached that next level.